Hey, y'all, welcome to CrossPolitic on the Fight Laugh Feast Network. Yes, we are at AmFest 2025. Still hope you guys are enjoying all the content we get from AmFest. Make sure you join the club so you can support more content like this. I got, of course, Chuck Knox here in the house, Pastor Toby, Gabe the Waterboy, and I got President Ben Merkle and Brad Dacus from Pacific Justice Institute. What happened in 2020? You guys know I got arrested and all that jazz. Well, one of the calls I made was calling Brad. I got connected with you. We actually talked sometime in 2020. It was like 10 years ago. That's what it felt like.
Right.
And you were really kind. I was actually in conversations with American Council or First Council, whatever, you know them all, ADF, and I talked to everybody. And then Thomas More Society, I started talking to them. They haven't landed on my case yet, but I connected with you because you were in the Northwest. We're in Idaho. You're in Oregon.
Well, we have an office in Idaho. We have an office in Oregon. We have 2 offices in Washington, 5 offices in California. So
you need like 20 there.
Yeah,
in California.
It's true. We have 36 offices coast to coast now, Pacific Justice Institute, and we do all our work without charge, defending religious freedom, parents' rights, the sanctity of human life. Yeah. And it's just such a joy and help any way we can, people.
Yeah. Well, I want to actually give you some kudos. You guys couldn't take my case. You wanted to help. You said that we got so many vax cases and we got to be careful about all the cases we do take, kind of stuff. But you did say if you still can't find someone, please come back and I'll try to help you.
Right.
So thank you.
I didn't want to leave it just shut the door.
Yeah.
But at that time we were handling thousands and thousands of cases where people had religious objections to the COVID vax.
Yeah.
They were going to lose their jobs. It was just a purging, and that was a huge challenge to us. But I just encourage people always to contact us if they're turned down by anyone else.
Yeah.
Because what makes us unique is we try not to just cherry pick high-profile cases.
I remember you telling me that. Yeah.
We want to make sure everyone gets help. So please, always feel free to call us, and thank you. Appreciate it. I'm glad you got that.
Yeah. No, you didn't shut the full door. You're like, man, I still want to try to figure out and help. So thank you for that. I want to bring attention to Dr. Ben Merkle. I remember kind of going through my process in Idaho. I had to find an Idaho lawyer. So I got my Thomas More Society back to me, had a national help, but you got to find an Idaho lawyer who's got an Idaho license and all that stuff. I mean, I probably for a month. I probably spent a whole month trying to call a lawyer after lawyer, and I'm interviewing them. I had one lawyer in Lewiston, not connected to us, but one lawyer in Lewiston. He told me, I disagree with your take on this, but I will take your case anyways.
Yeah, not confident I'm going to be going with you.
And so I found out kind of through my process that Idaho's legal system from lawyers to judges was actually pretty bad.
Yeah.
Now you guys started the Hell Institute. I think it was in kind of remembrance of me. No, I'm just kidding. It was tipping the hat to me. No. But you guys at the college started the Hell Institute.
Right.
Go ahead.
Did you say there was the Hell?
The H-A-L.
You gotta excuse his Texas accent.
Sound like the Hell Institute. I'm sorry, but I just want to make sure I got that
It was
right.
What the Hell Institute.
Yeah.
That was the kind of lawyer he needed. Was a what the hell lawyer.
So you guys, this is a friend to the college. I actually want to talk about it a little bit.
Hale.
H-A-L-E.
Okay,
After
gotcha.
Matthew Hale, the jurist. The purpose of the Hale Institute is the recovery of the common law tradition. So Jeff Schaefer, he was an attorney with ADF. He left ADF to come.
If you don't know Jeff, you should know Jeff.
Yeah. He came to found the Hale Institute. And so he teaches electives to the NSA students on the recovery of the common law tradition. He particularly he'll do an elective where it's just on law and speech, or law and the body, law and religion. And you have these questions that are really thorny, difficult questions. And he'll take a whole term to walk through in a deep dive to understand, how do we understand this in the common law tradition? What are the solutions that are there? A lot of the reason for it is because I think Christians in general, when they start looking at law, it's I think the existence of law is a troubling kind of category. Like, what gives you the right to tell me that I have to do this, or to put me in prison, or because I have violated whatever? It's actually like the work that you have to do to demonstrate the authority that we have to actually have godly law is considerable, and that tradition is there in the common law tradition that America has. Great and rooted in Scripture, ultimately going back to biblical law. But it's this long, noble tradition that actually the whole West was built on. But we've abandoned that. And I think that the standard Christian kind of cop-out is to take a really libertarian approach, which is to say we shouldn't have any of these laws. We should all just be free on these things. But then they don't have an answer for why, for instance, why should gay marriage not be permissible? Like I would say we should strike that down. A libertarian is going to say, no, I think that we can't tell other people those sorts of things. Like, why do we have the right to expect a biblical morality of our nation? And I think it's really hard to make that argument unless you actually have a competent understanding of where law comes from and why we have the right to demand these sorts of things.
I guess from when I heard about the Hell Institute and you guys doing what you're doing, the one thing that made me think of was like, man, we really need this in Idaho, because I need more Christian lawyers who want to fight. I talked to tons of Christian lawyers in Idaho who didn't even want to pick up my case because they wanted to have a good relationship with the judges or whatever was going on. And so what's the end goal of the Hale Institute? Well, is it to produce some of that?
Yeah, I mean, what we're doing is, I think, mentoring our students into careers in law and policy, as well as also trying to speak into places where Jeff does quite a lot of work. Well, he'll do national conferences on thorny questions where, again, he's trying to bring to bear the common law tradition on current issues.
Okay, so you got a broader perspective than Idaho. How did you make it through government law education and not turn out like a government lawyer the way a lawyer would think after going through that kind of education? Does that question make sense? Is that even a fair question to you?
Yeah, no, it is. It's a totally fair question. I've had government public education all my life.
Yeah.
Kindergarten all the way through law school.
And you still love Jesus?
And I still love Jesus. And in fact,
You aren't Presbyterian.
No. Yeah, we'll see. Maybe I'm predestined to be. No. But I will say this: I came to Christ when I was in third grade.
Yeah.
I received Jesus as my Lord and Savior. I was on fire. My first case was when I was in third grade, if you will. I noticed my elementary school, Sumner Elementary in Claremont, California, did not have a Bible in it. I talked to the librarian on my own. My parents didn't even know what was going on. I said, "Why isn't there a Bible? It's the most important book."
Yeah.
How do I get a Bible? They said, "We have to petition." How do I petition? Here's a form. You need to fill it out. Sign your name. I learned to sign my name that year in third grade. So I signed my name. I submitted the petition, and they put a Bible into that elementary school library. I got a little carried away and went into law, but having that, but I read the Bible profusely over and in fact, my third grade teacher said to my parents, "We have a problem with your son. He's only speaking Old English now."
Wow.
Oh yeah, they said you need to get him a children's living Bible, which they did, a living Bible. But the Bible is the foundation. It was so critical, and I at times would challenge my teachers, my professors as I grew up, and I filed complaints against professors. 3 professors at Texas A&M. One of them did not return the following semester.
Wow.
I'm not sure if that was the reason, but and then at Texas, and then at University of Texas School of Law, I filed
horns.
Yeah, I filed complaints there, and some professors I think will never forget me, sort of like their last surgery. But a lot of it is just the foundation of what you believe, why you believe it, and as a Christian, and the Word of God is the starting point. I think that's the reason I was able to hold my ground and be sharpened by it. Most students, though, are not sharpened when they're believers and they go to a secular university or a quote quasi-Christian university, which most of those in California that are Christian are quasi. They're really not full
Right.
Christian. Yeah. Cal Baptist is my exception. I think they're doing a great job. That's my little caveat.
New St. Andrews College.
Oh, St. Andrews. Boom. Okay. So, but there's some great ones. But otherwise, they're washed away if they don't have a solid biblical foundation. And that's why I think most parents really need to look at having their children get a quality education. And that means choosing a school that is grounded in truth.
Yeah.
And I interviewed someone from Hillsdale earlier today. Schools that we can really count on. If a child is ready for sharpening, They're well grounded. You got a Charlie Kirk out there that knows what they believe, why they believe it, and can make their defense. Go for it. But that's my story.
As Christians guarding purity in our lives, our homes, and our businesses, it is extremely important to take that caution. Temptation is restless, and if we don't take proactive steps to guard our hearts and minds, it'll consume us. Accountability isn't optional. It's vital for any believer who desires to live in purity according to God's word. Whether you're a business owner or a leader in church or just someone trying to stay pure, accountable to you helps you stay aligned to God's standard of holiness. With real-time monitoring and instant alerts, sin is a weed that will only keep growing unless it is killed. And accountability will help you with that guard. Accountable2you.com/FLF. That is accountable2you.com/FLF. So my question also is just a little bit like, so I grew up in Texas, University of Baylor.
That's why he says hell.
Texas.
Hell.
So
I lived in Plano. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm an Aggie.
So
All right.
Dallas. I was born in Denison. First line of defense was Okies crossing the border.
Yep.
But then there's Texas Christian, TCU, Baylor. All those at one point were rooted as strong Christian colleges, supposedly.
At one point.
Now they're off the rocker.
Right.
But how
Correct.
do you, which is why I think our lawyer profession is actually so wonky now, is that not just the government colleges, but then you have all these Christian colleges that are teaching basically government ways of legal process.
Yeah.
And thought.
Yeah. In our law schools, like I went to the University of Texas School of Law. It's one of the top 20 law schools in the country. Academically, it's got some talented professors, but you don't learn the foundations of law. Common law, that's sort of a thing in history to be discarded by the many. You don't even read the Constitution in law schools.
Wow.
And Blackstone, yes, the average law student say, they go, who? Who's Blackstone?
Wow.
The concept
Sounds racist.
Yeah, so I had a professor who's teaching critical legal studies, which is that might is right, whoever's in power wins.
Right.
There is no right and wrong. That's what he taught an entire class.
Wow.
Needless to say, I went head to head with him a few times.
He thought you were wrong.
And I and I advocated natural law based on, as is proven and validated by history. I survived. But the last day of class, I want to share this brief story. I told him, I said, so tell me, if you believe that might is right, whoever's in power wins, and that there's no law above man in what we declare, then you would have invalidated the Nuremberg trials, because that what the Nazis did was under the authority of the state that they controlled. You would have let them all go, right?
Wow.
Well, I happen to know that he was also had a Jewish background, not a belief, but a Jewish culture.
Sure.
And he ever so eloquently said, boldly and intellectually, I really have to go. I really don't have time for that. And he ran out of a classroom. And I told all the students who were hanging around, I said, it's obvious he doesn't believe this himself. Why should any of us?
Wow.
And that messaging we need to get out.
Wow.
No, I think that's exactly right.
So I wanted to ask.
I can keep going.
No, that's fine. I wanted to ask, one of the things I appreciate about the Hell Institute is you guys are working and creating, writing, doing think tanks and writing policy, right? That's part of what you guys are aiming at. And one of the things I've had probably a poor look at is that very idea, because it seems like we're a bunch of guys in a room wishing that they can get these things passed. All of a sudden you see Trump, who needs good legislation, good policy, somebody who's thought through how we get from here to there. And so I want to know how important that is to your world, but what's Hell doing in these think tanks? How important is that to what you guys are doing with the Hell Institute?
I know right now Jeff's big thing is working on, he's kind of taken
Israel.
No, he's taken a couple months to pull back, and he is doing a deep dive on Obergefell and is writing, I think, what will be the definitive response to Obergefell and why it must go down. And I think he does. I don't know if you know Jeff Schaefer. He coughs in footnoted paragraphs, so it's a very precise and highly researched and carefully articulated walk through why Obergefell is insanity, and it goes through a number of different ways in which this doesn't make sense of anything. And so I think what to get something moved through, you need people. There's a number of different positions you need on your team. because you need these people who can do that deep walk through. You need your politicians who can actually enact things. You need your popular, like the kind of the ministry that you do is you're taking truths and popularizing and moving public culture, the opinion of culture, to get behind certain things. And so you need kind of all of those different pieces together. And a lot of times, when you've got a Biden presidency or something like that, it feels like nothing can happen. But behind the scenes, these people, if you think about how Roe v. Wade came down, people were working behind the scenes for a long time when it looked like there's no hope. And then suddenly God puts it all together at a moment, and then you make a really critical move forward. So a lot of times I don't know that you can really choreograph. Like, you can't say, okay, this is how it's all going to work out.
Right.
What you can do is you can say, I know I can do this,
Yeah.
and I'll put my shoulder behind it as hard as I can in this space for as long as I can. And then God, in his sovereignty, decides the moment when everything aligns, and suddenly, 20 different guys who will put their shoulder on the same thing suddenly discover this is the moment, and now the thing moves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you in your work? You see, how do you see this playing out?
As far as policies,
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
so-
Christian think tanks.
what?
Christian think tanks and policy.
Yes, oh, absolutely. I think they're absolutely fantastic. One thing we do at Pacific Justice, in addition to over 140 cases in litigation, we have a whole division that works with state legislatures.
Yes.
We recommend new laws, which we've drafted bills for promoting parents' rights over their kids, for example, religious freedom,
Yes.
dealing with public school issues. And in fact, we have drafted not one, not two, but 3 draft executive orders for the President of the United States. We didn't come up with this. We were invited to do it.
Yeah.
One of them, which I can't talk about now, but one of them is supposed to be announced and signed in November last month. So we're waiting for it.
Okay.
But I think one thing about this president is I have never seen a president in U.S. history more open to input from the people
Right.
when it comes to policies, new laws, and openness to challenge the status quo. It's been very refreshing and very productive for the work that we value, which is religious freedom, civil liberties,
Yeah.
and protection of the family.
What are some of the biggest cases that you guys are working on right now that you feel like have massive impact on the rest of society?
Oh, yeah. Well, there's so many, but one of them is in New Jersey where we're suing the attorney general who's ordered every public school teacher to not only use pronouns that violate their conscience,
What?
that confuse children all the more,
Right.
which has terrible long-term ramifications, including suicide, but they're also ordered to lie to parents to cover it up. So we're suing. Parents' rights is the issue of this decade.
Yes.
And we're seeing incredible results. Supreme Court's already come down with 2 decisions this last year that are revolutionary in terms of rights of parents to opt out. And then we have businesses like at one on the other side of the country in Seattle where a Christian-owned Korean women's spa was told they have to let a dude,
Oh yeah.
come in and expose himself
Yeah.
naked to naked women and naked little teenage girls.
Yeah.
The Christian family who owns the business says absolutely not.
Yeah.
They were shut down by the Washington Human Rights Commission.
Oh, my goodness.
This is George Orwell all over again, which
yeah,
means the opposite of what they really do.
Absolutely.
Needless to say, we're taking this. We're already filing an en banc petition to the Ninth Circuit. Good chance this will go to the Supreme Court, and we want to defend the rights of good business owners to be able to live their faith
And
and not
discriminate.
shut down. Yeah, and be decent.
Yeah.
So it's great having them on. We got to let them go. We actually time's up. So
that's great.
where's your website where people can follow you?
You bet. It's pji.org, pji.org. We have attorneys across the country. Love to speak to different groups and churches, and we do all our work for free. We have a great newsletter, The Legal Insider, pji.org.
President Merkle?
NSA.edu.
There we go. Thank you guys so much
I
for coming
appreciate
on.
you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.